All right, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining me on Valley News Now. This month, for the month of October, every Friday, we're partnering with with the Bank of North Dakota to talk about financial literacy. I know it's a topic not a lot of people like to talk about. I know I like to hide from the money subject from time to time, but we're gonna put a bunch of stuff out in the open now. Joining me from the Bank of North Dakota is Rachel Grossman. Rachel, thank you for joining us here on the desk.
Thanks for having me. This is great.
Yeah, of course, a good opportunity to kind of try to get some advice out there that maybe some people wouldn't necessarily think of, or just even put some things in their mind that, like even I guess just financial literacy in general doesn't come up in the forefront of the brain very often.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, it's one of those things people don't like to talk about necessarily.
I know every time money comes up, I hide. I get scared of it. So I guess, first and foremost, financial literacy. Kind of, how do you guys define that? What is financial literacy, and why is it so important for people of all ages, really?
Yeah, absolutely. So when we talk about financial literacy, people have all sorts of their own definitions. Really, I kind of like to define it as just boiling down to having the knowledge and understanding to really back up some of the financial choices that you're making. Really allowing you to make good financial choices because you've got that, background knowledge already. And then within that, it can go into a lot of different areas. It can look like, just having a basic budget. It can look like saving for financial goals you might have, saving for retirement. As you kind of advance along, getting a little more into investing all becomes part of it. So yeah, really a lot that goes into financial literacy. And you said why it's so important. Obviously anything with money typically ends up being an important topic for people. And the reason why financial literacy in itself is so important is because it is having that knowledge to back up the choices that you're making. If you haven't done the work to really educate yourself on different financial topics, you can kind of just go out and you'll start spending willy-nilly, maybe making some poor financial decisions.
Yeah, I know that very well. You could ask my wife, I know that very well.
And obviously, that's not what we want to see for people. So that's kind of where we try and provide this education up front to allow them to make those good choices.
You mentioned some big things that kind of hang over a lot of people, retirement especially, kind of something that maybe doesn't come up in the brain every day, but something that's obviously going to become a factor later for you in life. Just how much can your financial literacy now affect those big things coming up down the road?
Yeah, it's huge. We kind of always say, the earlier you start thinking about some of those maybe far off things, really the better it is for you. It allows you, time to get your plan together. It allows, your money to start working for itself. We talk about compound interest all the time. So time is always in your favor. So really the earlier you can start, the better. It's kind of funny, I get to work with high school kids a lot.
Wow, okay.
And having these conversations with them, they kind of say, that's so far in the future, I don't even want to think about it, much less, start saving for retirement.
Yep.
So that's kind of where that education piece comes in, of just the earlier you can start, the better it's going to be for you.
I'll tell you, as somebody I've constantly kind of been like, that's future me's problem, and I don't know if I like that guy. Let me tell you, all of a sudden you're in your 30s, and then those things start to matter quite a bit more. So with the Bank of North Dakota and I guess the state of North Dakota in general, you guys have really kind of made a point of pounding in the financial literacy aspect of things. Why does the state of North Dakota care so much about that aspect, that financial literacy aspect?
Yeah, obviously as a state, we want to be here for our residents. We want to see them, living happy, healthy, successful lives. And as we just kind of talked about, financial literacy plays a really big part in that. If you're not worrying about money or financial decisions, how you're going to pay the bills this month, that sort of thing, it really allows you just more bandwidth in other areas of your life. You're able to spend time with your kids and family then without having to, think about that in the back of your mind all the time. So really as a state, it just kind of, it allows our people to have those happier, more successful lives. And then also on the state side, obviously we like to see the economy doing well, and all of that just kind of feeds into itself.
It's a little bit, I imagine, makes your guys' lives a little bit easier when that aspect is going
For
well.
Sure.
The next thing we kind of wanted to touch on was the Smart With My Money website, and I think we have a link on our Facebook page right now. If you're watching this on our Facebook page, you could just go scroll a little bit more and see the link here. And I'll pull it up now for anyone that may not be able to see it. But with the Smart With My Money website, kind of just tell us a little bit about that and what your guys' main goals are with that.
Yeah, so obviously we said, financial literacy is all about education. And we were really kind of finding just in conversations that we have with people all over the state is they weren't sure where to go for
Right.
education. You hear financial tips from your parents and your friends and the people surrounding you, but you're never quite sure like what's real, what can I trust, what makes sense. And so we really wanted to kind of create a resource where all things finances were going to be in one place for people, where they could just go get some good, solid education for themselves. So this Smart With My Money website, it's really meant to be a tool for people where there are courses that you can take on there, there's videos you can watch, articles to read, kind of something for every learning style that's important for us. And then literally any sort of money financial question that you might be wondering about, there's probably going to be a topic on there for you. So, if you're maybe just graduating high school and you're wondering, how do I enter the real world, the workforce, there's going to be stuff there for you. If you're nearing retirement, there's content there. If you're maybe having your first child, then you're thinking about, okay, how do I start saving for their future education? There's good resources there. So really any phase of life you're in, any sort of money topic you're wondering about, there's just going to be some really good content and education on the website for you.
Gosh, and I had that kind of pulled up while we were talking here. And so one thing that we were looking at was the Smart With My Money Personality Challenge. And I saw that on here. Discover your money personality. Can you tell us a little bit about that and maybe what that, we'll do this live. Let's get my personality analysis now, but just kind of what is the money personality aspect of it and how important is it to kind of have that understanding as you move forward?
For sure. This is actually my favorite part
okay.
of the website. It's just like a quick little analysis that'll maybe take you 5-10 minutes depending on how much time you put into it. That really just kind of digs into why do you view money the way that you do, and kind of how does that affect your financial decisions then. So, really everybody has their own unique money personality, made up of, your background, maybe financial decisions from when you were younger, kind of what you were taught as a child.
Right.
All kind of boils in and makes up your money personality. And really the fun thing about this then is that it shows you, hey, if you have this money personality, these are some really good things about it. Maybe here are some challenges that you might face. And then, if that really allows you then to kind of know yourself a little better. So if you get a money personality that says, for myself, for example, one of my money personality traits is that I'm socially influenced when it comes to money. So that means that if a friend is telling me like, hey, yes, you should absolutely buy that cute shirt, I'm going to be influenced by that.
Understandable.
And so it just kind of allows me to know that about myself. And maybe, if I'm thinking, hey, I really don't need to spend money on this, it allows me to kind of remember, hey, don't let my friend influence me because you know that you tend to do that type of thing.
That makes sense. And yeah, we showed you a little bit of a look there of the site, and it shows kind of the different categories of the money personality and how these can help make up your money personality. Cool thing to do. I'm going to go ahead and do that here in just a little bit. I don't want to bore the people with what my money personality may be, but I know they're going to care about theirs. So a really cool tool that you guys provide there. Another thing that, when you're thinking about financial literacy, I guess, and even I'm guilty of this too. When you hear that, you're thinking, oh, that's something rich people have to worry about, kind of how to be the financial literacy aspect of it. What would you say to that kind of aspect that some people may think?
Yeah, I would say absolutely not. You do not need to be, high income. You do not need to be, extremely wealthy or anything like that. In fact, I kind of always say financial literacy is really for everyone, often starting at, the very basic level with just a monthly budget of this is how much money I have coming in each month, and then these are what my bills are or my expenses every month. And so just kind of starting with some of those basic things, that can be, like I mentioned, someone just entering the workforce obviously is probably not going to have a huge amount of wealth just yet.
Right.
But kind of starting some of those basic habits really sets the foundation that maybe someday then they're going to be high earners, or the habits that they set now are really setting them up for a strong financial future.
There's a reason people get to that point where they have that,
Exactly.
and so this could kind of help provide some for that. What are some of the biggest misconceptions that people may have about managing money effectively, especially as we continue to kind of look at this financial literacy aspect of it? Kind of what do you think some of the biggest misconceptions people may be about how to manage money?
Yeah, kind of going with what we just talked about, I think oftentimes people think, hey, I don't need to start managing my money until, I've got a high income or, have a ton saved, that sort of thing. People often think of managing money maybe as investing. And so if they think, hey, I don't maybe have anything extra this month to invest, I don't need to worry about managing my money. Obviously, that's not the case. We want people really practicing these habits, from the get-go. I think another misconception that people have often is they don't need to start thinking about this until they're maybe a little bit older in life, planning for retirement, or maybe you're thinking about, their first really large purchase, like buying a home, and then they're kind of like, oh, I need to, get my stuff together and start thinking about this now. Yeah, we would like to drive home that idea of just the earlier you can start with your managing money, some of these financial habits, really the better off you're going to be.
Gotcha. And Rachel, I got one more for you before we get you out of here. Again, thank you very much for your time. We're going to see Rachel on a weekly basis here in October as we kind of continue to hammer home the financial literacy in a partnership with the Bank of North Dakota. But going back to the money personality aspect of things, just how important is that? Can you really drive home just kind of how important it is to have that understanding of not just money, but yourself and how you handle money? Just how important is that aspect of it?
Yeah, I really think that's kind of the basis. Very first thing you got to have in place to really set yourself up for all of these other topics when it comes to financial literacy. It's really important to know yourself, your own money habits, the way that you view money. I always like to say, too, if you're in a relationship, that's huge as well, because you might have a different money personality than your partner, which can, maybe cause conflict or other things. So it's kind of nice to just, have that base level knowledge in place. And so with that, that's kind of why we really developed this challenge for the month of October. We're really encouraging people, go to the Smart With My Money website, take the money personality quiz, really dig in, learn about yourself, learn about why you do view money the way that you do, you view your financial habits the way that you do, and then challenge the people around you. It can be maybe posting on social media something as simple as, I have a social influence type, and I discovered that through this money personality quiz, and I want to challenge Devin to take the quiz as well.
Challenge accepted.
Perfect. Love to see it.
I'll tell you what, I'll take the quiz, and then next week when we have you in, we'll talk about what I see with my, I'm sure, I guarantee social is going to pop up on there, just because I do know that much about myself. But no, we'll go and touch on that next week. Again, if you want to know your money personality, there's a link on our Facebook page right now. You can find that. We also showed you a little bit what it looks like, so I gave you a little sneak peek. You know what to expect now. Rachel, thank you so much for your time this week, and we'll see you again next Friday. Thank you for joining us on this Valley News Now digital update. We're going to be back with a lot more throughout the day and, of course, throughout the coming weeks here with Rachel and the Bank of North Dakota. But for now, for Valley News Now, I'm Devin Fry.